aitah for unfollowing my ex right after he broke up with me. The funny thing is, when he said I think we should take a break, his phone was still in his hand, and my reflection was in the black mirror of his screen. Not his eyes, not his hands, his phone. That's how I knew it wasn't really a breakup. It was an announcement. We'd been together for almost 3 years, met in university, survived long distance, and even talked about moving in together after graduation. I loved him in the way people love when they think it's their forever. We shared playlists, passwords, and pieces of our childhood we swore no one else would understand. But for the last few months, he had been distant, not cruel, just distracted. He'd leave my messages on read, scroll through TikTok while I was telling him about my day, and laugh at jokes I didn't hear. It wasn't the usual we're busy kind of drift. It felt like he was slowly walking out of a room and closing the door behind him. Quietly, politely, but deliberately. Then, one Friday night, we went out with friends. He seemed lighter, like he'd finally made a decision that I hadn't been informed of. He barely touched me, barely spoke to me, but smiled at everyone else. And when we got back to my place, he sighed and said, "You deserve someone who's more present." No argument, no fight, no tears, just finality. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I just nodded and said, "Okay." When he left, I opened Instagram, went to his profile, hovered over following, and tapped unfollow. It wasn't even rage. It was instinct, like slamming a door before the cold wind can creep in. 5 minutes later, he texted me, "Wow, you unfollowed me already." I didn't respond. I turned off my phone, but by morning I had messages from our mutual friends. "Has upset. He said you were being dramatic. He thinks you're trying to make him look like the bad guy." Apparently, had posted a story about how some people move on too fast, and people liked it. That's when it hit me. He didn't just end the relationship. He wanted control over how it ended. He wanted to be the sad, wise one who tried his best, while I played the bitter ex-girlfriend who couldn't handle it. So I stayed silent. I didn't block him, didn't delete the photos, just silence, because silence was louder than anything I could post. Then, 2 days later, he showed up at my favorite car. He said it was a coincidence, but he sat across from me like a ghost from a life that was still half a lie. "Why'd you unfollow me?" he asked. I told him, "Because you're not my boyfriend anymore." He scoffed. "It's just Instagram." "Then why do you care?" I said. He didn't have an answer. After that, things got weirder. He started watching all my stories from a burner account. His best friend DM'd me asking if I was trying to get attention. One of his cousins even commented on an old photo of us with a sad emoji. It wasn't grief. It was performance. He wanted the stage. He left the theater. My friends are split. Some say I was petty for unfollowing him so fast. Others say it was healthy, a clean break. But his mom texted me last night, yes, his mom, saying she was disappointed in how I handled the breakup and that I should have respected his feelings. So now I'm questioning myself. Was I wrong for cutting digital ties the moment he ended things? Or was I just refusing to let him keep a piece of me he no longer deserved? Would I be the asshole for unfollowing my ex right after he broke up with me? Or was I just the first one to stop pretending? Continuation. The breakup that refused to end the first week after the breakup was quiet. Too quiet. No messages, no drama. Just the hollow kind of silence that feels like you're walking through a house after a fire. Everything's still standing, but burned. Then the whispers started. It began with screenshots. My best friend sent me a post from his close friend's story. One that I was, obviously, no longer part of. A black screen, white text. It's weird how some people show their true colors the second you stop giving them attention. The post had a heartbroken emoji at the end, and my initials in the corner of a song lyric reposted right after. "You were my whole world. Now you're just Wi-Fi I forgot to connect to." That was his version of closure. I tried to laugh it off, but it crawled under my skin. Had always been good at subtle digs, the kind that make you doubt your own memory. He knew exactly how to make me look cold while he played the victim. Still, I didn't react. I didn't block him. I wanted to prove to myself, mostly, that I didn't care. But the thing about silence is that people fill it with their own stories. Mutual friends started reaching out. "Has really hurt. He said you cut him off like he meant nothing. Has been talking about you nonstop." I wanted to scream. Then why did he leave? But instead, I just said, I hope he's okay. A lie? Because I didn't hope that. I hoped he'd understand what it felt like to lose something real. To lose me. By week 2, he started testing boundaries. A message from a random number popped up. Hey, I left my hoodie at your place. Can I grab it sometime? No name. But I didn't need one. It was his hoodie, the one I'd slept in for a year. I stared at the message for 10 minutes before typing, "You'll leave it in a bag outside." He replied almost instantly, wow. Not even a hello. I didn't respond. Later that night, my doorbell rang. He didn't just come for the hoodie. He came to see me. He stood there, eyes red like he hadn't slept, holding a paper cup of coffee like a peace offering. "Can we just talk?" he said. I almost said yes. Almost. But I remembered how, a week ago, had told his friends I was too emotional and needed to grow up. So I said, no. You said you needed space. Take it. And I closed the door. For the first time, I felt powerful, but the power didn't last long, because that night, he posted a new story, a photo of his empty bed, captioned, "Some people are heartless." And suddenly, I wasn't powerful anymore. I was the villain in his narrative again. I started to spiral. I'd open his profile just to see if he'd posted anything new, then close it in disgust. I'd delete our old photos, then restore them from recently deleted 5 minutes later. I told myself I was healing, but really, I was orbiting him like a ghost, trapped between wanting to forget and needing to be remembered. Then came the party. One of our mutual friends invited me to her birthday. I almost didn't go, but I was tired of feeling small. I dressed up, smiled, and decided that maybe tonight I'd finally stop thinking about him, until I walked in and saw him there. He looked fine, laughing, drinking, surrounded by people who once called me their friend. And when he noticed me, he didn't look guilty or awkward. He looked relieved, like seeing me meant he could keep pretending he was the good guy. He raised his glass toward me and smiled. That same half-smirk he used to give me before saying something that would break my heart softly. I didn't stay long, but before leaving, one of our friends pulled me aside and whispered. He said, "You're still obsessed with him, that you've been checking his profile every day." That was the moment I realized I'd been playing defense in a game he designed. So the next morning, I blocked him. Everywhere. No message, no warning. Just gone. He tried calling once, then twice, then from a number I didn't recognize. I didn't answer, because I finally understood something. He didn't want me. He wanted access. He wanted the version of me that made him feel admired, important, forgiven. And the only power I had left was to deny him that. It's been a month now. Some mornings I wake up and still reach for my phone, half expecting a good morning text that will never come. Sometimes I dream that we're back together, that I forgave him, and everything is warm again. Then I wake up and remember how it felt when he made me feel small, invisible, replaceable. And that's when I remind myself I didn't unfollow him out of pettiness. I did it because I refused to stay chained to someone who wanted to keep me almost loved. So, aitah for unfollowing my ex right after he broke up with me. Maybe. But if loving him was the fire, maybe being the asshole was finally walking out before I burned too. Part 3. The ghost message 3 months. That's how long it took before his name appeared on my screen again. Not as a call, not even as a message. Just a small, quiet notification. Someone you may know is on TikTok. His face, same smirk, different username. I laughed bitterly when I saw it. The algorithm was cruel. It knew exactly which ghosts to resurrect. At first, I ignored it, but the next day, my best friend texted me. He posted something. "I think it's about you." Of course he did. Had always found new ways to turn pain into performance. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The video was him sitting in his car, the same gray hoodie I'd given him slung over his shoulders. A sad indie song played in the background. The caption read, "If you're seeing this, just know I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to love you right." My heart stopped for a moment. It was pathetic, manipulative, but still, it worked. Every unsent message, every almost text I'd written in my drafts came rushing back. I wanted to believe that had changed, that the silence had meant something to him too. But deep down, I knew, if he had really changed, he would have reached out to apologize, not perform. Still, that night, I dreamed of him again. In the dream, we were sitting in his car, rain streaking down the windows, his hand on mine. He said, "You never gave me a chance to make things right." And I whispered, "You had 1,000 chances. You just didn't take any of them." When I woke up, I felt like crying, not because I missed him, but because the version of him I fell in love with never really existed. A week later, I ran into him in real life. Of all places, the grocery store. It felt like something out of a movie I didn't want to be in. He was standing near the fruit section, holding a basket like he didn't know what to do with it. When he saw me, his whole face changed, surprise first, then guilt, then that same soft expression that used to melt me. "Hey," he said, "Wow, you look good." I froze. Every cell in my body screamed to walk away. But instead, I nodded, "Hey." There was a moment of silence. Then he said, "You blocked me everywhere." "I did," I replied. "For a reason." He exhaled. "I know. I miss you. I didn't handle things right. I didn't handle you right." I wanted to say something cutting, something strong, but all that came out was, "You hurt me." "I know." He looked down, then back at me. "I think about it all the time. About what I said. About how I made you feel. I didn't realize how much you meant to me until I stopped being available." I interrupted. He flinched. That silence, the kind that used to fill our car rides home, fell again. The kind that made me feel both wanted and invisible. Finally, I said, "You don't get to miss me when you chose to lose me." And I walked away. It should have ended there. But it didn't. A few nights later, he messaged me from a new account. "Please don't ignore this. I just need to say something." I stared at the message for hours before opening it. He wrote, "I've been going to therapy. You were right. I was selfish. I was scared. I don't expect anything. I just wanted to thank you for waking me up." It felt different. For the first time, it didn't sound like a manipulation. It sounded like growth. But then, at the bottom of the message, he added, "If you ever want to grab coffee, just as friends, I'd love to see you." And that one line broke everything again. Because I realized, no matter how much time had passed, he still didn't get it. He still thought I owed him closure. That I could sip lattes with the same person who once made me feel like I was unworthy of love. Unless it was convenient for him. So I didn't reply. I deleted the message, muted his new account, and went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not the kind that comes from forgiveness, but the kind that comes from finally accepting that some people will never understand the damage they caused, and that you don't need their apology to heal. Months have passed since then. Sometimes I still see his username pop up under random posts, liking a song, following someone new, existing in the same digital world where we once overlapped. But it doesn't sting anymore, because I finally get it now. Love isn't proven by who misses you after it's too late. It's proven by who fights to keep you when they still have the chance. And he didn't. So, aitah for unfollowing my ex right after he broke up with me. Maybe to him, yes. But to me, it was the first step toward remembering who I was before. I started waiting for someone to see my worth. Sometimes healing looks like blocking a number. Sometimes it looks like smiling at your reflection instead of scrolling his feed. And sometimes it looks like walking away in a grocery store, heart racing, but not looking back. Because the truth is, I didn't unfollow him to be petty. I unfollowed him to set myself free.